Hello, we're going to do a little Throwback Thursday version on Facebook Live today. What we're going to talk about is some forage production or supplementation of sheep and goats out when they're foraging in a pasture such as what's around me. And so, it's late August here in San Angelo. We had a lot of rain this spring. As you can tell behind me, there's a lot of weeds, a lot of broomweed, a lot of grass, but all the grass is dormant. A lot of the weeds have gone dormant. And so we're thinking, all right, it's in the fall. We got some ewes that we need to breed. We've got some replacement animal stock that we need to develop out. Should we be supplementing them? And so we're going back into the archives and grabbing some data from 1981, which is a fantastic year, by the way. This research is some ewe supplementation research that was conducted by Ed Houston, was the primary principal investigator. And so what they did is they supplemented sheep at either no supplement or 3 different levels. They all got the same amount of protein, but some were given a low volume, high protein feed. Some were given a medium volume feed that's a medium protein, and some were given high volume of low protein. And so if you look at this was about a 1/4 pound per day supplementation, 1/2 pound per day supplementation, and 1 pound per day supplementation. This is cottonseed meal, that's sorghum grain. The medium is a combination of the two at a 32 to 68% ratio. If you look at cost in today's feed world, the cost for the low supplementation is about $1 a day in feed. Your biggest cost is going to come from delivering the feed, not so much the feed itself. But even the high volume, up to 1 pound a day, we're only spending about $2 a ewe a month. And so these supplementations aren't that expensive. So if they're not that expensive, we should do it, right? There should be no downside, especially when we think about beef cattle. If we had some cows out here, we gave them a little bit of extra protein, they're likely going to eat more forage, and we will have a complementary effect. So we're going to supplement them a little bit of protein, they're going to eat more forage. Sheep and goats have they're different. They're going to eat a higher protein quality diet out here than a cow would, and as such, lots of times supplementation ends up being substitution. So if we look this was whenever those ewes were supplemented in the fall, starting a few months later than now, but a little bit later in the fall. So these ewes were eating just under 2 pounds of digestible quality feed, so they're probably eating 3.5, 4 pounds of feed out here. When we supplement them a 1/4 pound, this green bar is forage intake in the pasture. The forage intake goes down, okay? Total intake is about the same. So we spent feed and didn't get a whole lot of benefit from it. The medium supplementation, same thing. The more supplement we get, the less forage that they ate, but the combination of forage and supplement is a little bit higher than if we hadn't supplemented at all. So this medium could have gotten the flushing effect that we were hoping to get out of it, but recognize they are eating less forage. And then the high supplementation, these ewes ate about the same amount of forage even though they were getting twice the amount of feed. So overall, they ate a whole lot more. So in this scenario, that 1 pound per day was probably our biggest bang for buck. We either feed 1 pound per day or nothing, and that's probably the best economical decision in this scenario. So when we look at this same feeding strategy in the winter, okay, when you look at this, sorry, the wind's picking up a little bit here, but overall intake is way down, okay? Forage quality's really declined at this point. But we see the same effect. The more supplement we give, the less forage that they eat in the pasture. In this scenario, the low supplementation strategy was probably the best because we got the least amount of feed into them, and we got fairly similar intakes across that frame of mind. So why are they eating less? It could be that they're full, or it could be that you're feeding at times, excuse me, that they're foraging. So they come and eat feed as opposed to foraging, and so they don't eat as much feed that's out there in the pasture the whole time. Then if we're going to continue this into the spring, whenever it's green grass, but ewes have lambs on their side, and we need to give them the best quality feed plan as possible so that they can raise those lambs, especially twins. Here's the control intake. Here's the low volume supplement. So we actually, again, did more harm than good here because they ate less overall. The medium turned out the best. We fed a medium volume. We got a similar amount of forage intake, but overall we got a lot more feed consumed. And then the high volume was not our best option. So unfortunately, it's a bit complicated as to what to feed, when, and how much. But do know that with sheep and goats, when you're supplemental feeding, you're often substituting for what they're eating out there in the pasture. So they really have to have that feed to maintain body condition, or you're just substituting what they're eating and they're eating less of that dormant dead forage. Now, that may give you the ability to run more sheep longer, and that may be your strategy. So it all comes down to what your goals are. So hopefully you enjoyed our Throwback Thursday session, and let us know if you got any questions, and make comments and recommendations for videos in the future. Thanks. Have a great day.